There's no justification why some things take time, but when something does, it sure has to have a great outcome. This has been a long time pending, and I don't know why. I have no answers. Maybe because of the pursuit to make a great movie, or just procrastination. But finally, after gathering courage and recollecting all the memories, I decided to finally work on it. The final product of our trip, but memories to cherish for life. This movie is about the time we went to this out of the space world known as Spiti Valley. It's been long since we went on this crazy adventure. 2019 to be precise, and this trip was supposed to be a special one. Like every morning is a fresh start to the day, I decided to give this story a fresh start. Instead of making a tour guide video of how to travel to Spiti Valley and what places to visit, I wanted to make this personal. And now I think it makes clear sense as everything falls in place and I can justify taking so much time to make this video. I couldn't think of anything to make this video, but now I think I've got it. Let me tell you. Out of all the trips that I've been part of, not a single time all of us 5 friends were together. But not this time. We all 5 were together. It was as if the whole world was coming together, that we were finally at the airport and ready to go.
We have reached Chandigarh safely. We have reached Chandigarh safely, bro. We have reached Chandigarh and this is for you.
We all met in 2015 at the time of pursuing a professional course. Well, we didn't complete the course, but we got instead is 5 idiots doing random, stupid, crazy shit. It's been 7 years now, still our friendship stays the same. This movie is a kind of ode to that. I sound too serious, I know. So let me introduce to the real characters of the movie. Felix, Aditya, Sharma, Kshitij, Shantanu, and obviously yours truly. We had been planning this trip since 4-5 months, and when everything seemed fine, I was faced by a devastating life event which completely shattered my family. It was like every piece in the puzzle was disbursed, and I had to put it back and find the missing pieces. But had it been if these idiots weren't there, I would have lost it. What I needed was to build a foundation for myself to continue living and not surviving, and these 4 idiots were some of the bricks that laid the foundation, and what was born out of that was courage. Courage to move on and forward with a clear mind. We often come across hurdles that makes us believe that life is unfair, but that's what makes the ride a roller coaster, and your job is to enjoy it as and when what may come. I stood back again and decided to go on this trip, which absolutely was a very fine decision in regards to all the things I got to see and experience. We landed in Chandigarh and made a new friend, our driver, for the next 10 days of the trip. We casually called him Paji, well, for obvious reasons. But cut the crap, we headed straight towards Shimla, stayed at Nakhanda. Tired as hell, we all crashed. The real journey began the next day when we were exposed to high altitudes, off-roads, and nothing but high mountains and small sections of road. We got to see what is famously known as India's last village, Chitkul. Chitkul is considered as the last village of India, after which there is a 70-kilometer no man's land and then starts Tibet. The most interesting part here was the journey. It was magical, the roads, the surroundings, and all the stops we made. We were almost there, but we decided to stop for some chai and Maggie, and it was as if everything came to a stop. The air was fresh, chai was good, and the true sense of adventure was coming in.
Move push. Tap. Continue shot.
Ahead of it was a special dhaba waiting for us, named as Hindustan Ka Aakhri Dhaba. Food wasn't that great, but anyways the vibes were good and we were having the best time of our lives. It was followed by a nice short trek to the last point until we could go, after which the entire area was occupied by the military. The trek was easy, so easy that Shantanu was having the best time of his life. His capabilities were tested, but he somehow managed with the wild spirit of adventure in him. We met 2 army jawans there, and obviously we weren't allowed to film. They were telling us stories of their struggle and brotherhood and how life up there was. We were mesmerized by their stories and finally we had to leave as the next destination was waiting for us. We shook their rock solid hand and left for our next destination, Nako. What the real deal here about Spiti was that we were in this beautiful district for over 8 days and the place, apart from its amazing landscape and views, which leave you in awe, was that it came with less people. Rather less tourists and more of adventurers who in some part of their soul wanted to experience something other than a vacation. Just like many of these people were there to find something other than just a vacation of sorts, I was there too. In cliched terms, I can say that they were here to know themselves better, and I can say that with confidence because I myself felt the same. After Chitkul, it was time for Nako, a small quaint village with less oxygen and more views. This was the exact point where things were turning to be truly adventurous, as there were no roads but just patches of good roads mixed with a lot of bumps. But it was fun. And ever so to turn this thing more adventurous, we got a flat tire. But obviously we had a driver and he took care of it with ease. And finally, breaking our backs through those treacherous roads, we reached Nako at night. The town was pretty small, but here they were sending their trucks to the lower part and the small town was in a bit of hustle bustle. We had not booked any hotels as there weren't any hotels but just homestays. Next morning felt great. We went for a walk and discovered a small pond. Then just strolling the town we had one of the most delicious breakfasts ever, and especially the cold makes you a bit more hungry. We left and continued our journey to Spiti Valley, but there were 2 stops waiting for us, Giu and Dhankar. I can vividly remember Giu as we got to see the remains of a monk. The remains were found in a sitting position that was clearly something which got our minds blown. Then on to the next stop, we bumped into these crazy yet awesome Britishers who were riding a rickshaw from Manali to Leh. We chatted with them and obviously with few modifications, the rickshaw was a thing to watch out for. Also, after getting a bit friendly, a little cultural exchange took place when we decided to make them dance on Punjabi songs, and with no hesitation they joined in, and right there in the middle of nowhere we had this crazy experience which we could never forget.
Yeah. Oh. That's how you do it.
Some hip hop.
Logging in both.
Our next stop was Dhankar. We took a tour of monastery which was amazing. Finally, we made our way to the day's destination, Mud Village. The journey from Hikkim to Mud Village was never ending. It was already dark and we couldn't seem to reach the destination, but finally we reached. It was a small village with less than 5 homestays and the total population was around 30. Then we made our way to the epicenter of Spiti, a town which stood out in the middle of nowhere, bustling with so many tourists, Kaza. Kaza was like this rejuvenating small place with amazing boutique cafes and homestays. We went in a homestay where they had their own small cafe named Dezor. It was amazing. The walls were filled with owner stories and the owner too was one of a kind. A bikepacker who left everything behind and started this amazing homestay in the heart of Spiti. After chai, we finally made our way to Langza. Langza is famous for the Buddha statue you will see in most of the pictures when you search for Spiti Valley. After a long photo session and admiring the amazing landscapes, we made way for our next stop, Hikkim. Our journey took us to the highest post office located in the world, and to make it more memorable, we just sent a letter back to our home, and guess what? It actually came after a few days. There was just one person at the post office, old yet working. I wondered what must have been working at this place, that too alone, and lots of strangers passing by. I figured out, isn't it the same way we are living? crowded by so many strangers but yet feeling lonely. We had decided to stay in Langza, but knowing that Kaza was just few kilometers away, we shifted our base and decided to wander Kaza. We booked a room in Kaza and we were treated with small yet essential luxuries like a good bed and bathroom. As the morning sun shined upon us, we quickly had the blankets of luxuries taken off us and we were headed to one of the most beautiful places that I've ever seen, Chandratal. But before that, it was time to visit one of the special places of Spiti Valley, Key Monastery. How are you feeling?
Feeling is quite great. I am feeling so sacred here. It's Key Monastery.
Because you watch Sacred Games.
No, because I'm a firm believer of non-violence. And my friend is Shruti Sharma. He always keeps speaking banjo.
Guruji's ass.
What is this Bencho?
I don't know.
Mr. Nana,
By
how are you
citizen.
feeling?
This is the brother of Rancho.
How are you feeling, Mr.
Feeling
Nana?
awesome by saying Aditya. Getting some confidence.
It's
from
me,
him.
it's me, yeah, it's me.
I'm getting confidence from him.
Shama,
Tired in the morning.
are you hungry?
Yep.
What are you gonna eat? Maggie?
No, I hate Maggie.
Paratha?
Chandratal is a lake in Lahol, part of the Lahol and Spiti district of Himachal Pradesh. Chandratal is near the source of the Chandra river. There were no roads, just sections of these off-road patches and accommodations in form of tents. We reached around late afternoon, had some authentic lunch of Maggie and started walking off towards Chandratal lake. The directions we got were just go straight, and after 45 minutes you will see a small board that tells us that you have reached the lake. But to our surprise, we were lost. There were many paths and we clearly didn't know which way to go. There was no one and obviously there wasn't any network, but after some strategic planning, we finally found it and headed towards the lake. It was mesmerizing. The beauty of the lake left us in awe and water so blue that it felt as if I was seeing something for the first time. We spent some time there pondering around and made our way back to the camp. It was a long walk back. We had a nice cup of tea to counter the temperatures going down, and by night it went sub-zero. The next morning, a bit sad but also a bit happy to escape the brutality of winter, we were headed to exit from Lahol Spiti Valley. We made our way to Manali, a drastic transition from a secluded barren and rough land to a touristy town with all the hustle bustle. It actually felt sad to leave such a place and enter civilization, or rather reality. Our initial plan was to stay in Manali and to leave for Chandigarh directly, but we had one extra day left, and there was this one place left to explore during our last trip, which was Shikari Devi, a small temple located on the top of the mountain surrounded by clouds. So spontaneously, a plan was made to stay in a small village of Janjeli and visit Shikari Devi the next morning, after which we would leave for Chandigarh. Janjeli was an unexpected treat. We stayed in a small homestay and the owner was too generous. He provided us with home-cooked food and trust me, it was delicious. The next morning, we left for our ascent to Shikari Devi, and the moment we started it, we were left breathless. That speaks too much of our fitness.
Hi! How are you? You're fine. You're tired because your friend Shantanu Mhatre. Life is precious, as always. He's back because slow and steady wins the race. Bloody tired. Such a steep vertical climb towards Shikari Devi. We reached! And we almost reached. Almost.
Somehow, we reached the view and the vibe there was amazing. We had darshan at the temple and decided to soak in the view. It was magical. We went back to our homestay to collect our bags and the neighbor decided to treat us with a bag full of apples which were grown in his farm. We were awestruck by the hospitality we managed to get through. All we have to do is be kind, I guess. That's what makes you and the world a better place. Finally, the time came when we decided to leave with a bag full of apples and emotions. We finally moved out of Himachal to Chandigarh and with a heavy heart we stepped foot in the car and left. We had so many emotions running but so many experiences in our bags to look back to. From there on, we went to Chandigarh and the next day left for Mumbai. I was here to escape from what I had gone through and put my mind through a fresh restart, but what I found was a deep meaning of life and its value. Even to this day, I find myself taking life for granted sometimes. I am not here to preach, but with limitations, there should be a desire to optimize a thing in its full potential. Then I ask, why not life? I realized the same when I traveled to Spiti. The deserted, mysterious land was a mystery that even such a land, when associated with your experience, turns into something magical that even after 2 years, the memory feels fresh. I always believe that anything is memorable when you don't need to take a picture, but just look at it and recollect and reimagine its minutest details. Until this day, I can recollect and reimagine the place, and there's a certain craving and itch to go back. Apart from rediscovering myself, I somehow discovered the value of friendship. That friends are the only relationships that carry no judgment, at least as per my experience, and you're truly yourself when you're with your friends. Well, up till now, life for me was defined by success, and success is defined by career, money, stability, but I guess it's much more than that. Chasing this kind of success has no worth other than a temporary dopamine high, which later somehow turns into stress. I think life has much more than that. Life is about people, it's about freedom to choose, and most importantly, about the experiences by doing something apart from work. We seldom get trapped into the spiral of never-ending work life, which ironically leaves no life. And to break that cycle, I choose to travel, to rediscover, to relive, and to bring the inner child out. To let loose myself, get back on the ground, and leave no doubt. Come what may, the thunders or the storms, I breathed fresh air and broke all the norms. Struggle taught me value of life. The harder we think, the harder we strive. Make room for your thoughts as they are ocean waiting to hit the shore. Don't just survive but live. Live to open more doors.